Trust in Yahweh, and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in Yahweh, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto Yahweh, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Linnae, and Amber and I, who is behind the camera, wanted to take you for a spring garden tour. We've just finished putting in our garden yesterday. Today it is May 30th. And so everything's in, and we figured it would be a very good time to do a walk around so you guys can see what's all happening, what we all got in, and hopefully enjoy the view as much as we do. So we'll start here. So here we got spaghetti squash. We've got a bunch of plants that will come up over their trellising that you'll see here. So this is spaghetti squash here too. Here we have some more spaghetti squash, and this is going into a bit of a trial bed. I planted it into the kind of half decomposed compost, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But we got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants in here, and we'll just have them trail out this way, so it should be pretty. Here's our red raspberries, and in the fall Amber and I went through and we pruned out all of the dead canes so that, you know, it's not cluttered for when you pick and you're always hitting the pokey dead ones, and plus it looks cleaner and it helps them grow better. And then yesterday we went through and we pulled out all of the dandelions that were coming up, and they had really nice long roots, so we saved them and we'll make dandelion coffee with them. And if you're interested to see how we do that, then make sure you check out our video here. Other side. All along in this patch we have 2 types of corn. We have pink popcorn, and that goes all the way from the stakes down to the north end there. And then from the stakes toward us, we have golden bantam corn. So right here, right in this area. And all of that's direct sown. So it'll be interesting because the pink popcorn, that was by transplant, and then the golden bantam is by seed. So it'll be interesting to see the timings of, you know, who's first, or if they're equal. It'll be interesting. Yeah. And then all through this area here, with the red trellising and the little greenhouses, we have straight 8 cucumbers. So that'll be for our pickling and fresh eating. And we're just doing one type of cucumber this year so that we don't need to worry about cross-pollination, because I want to save seed from it. And we were happy with the straight 8 last year, so we're trying that this year. So in between, underneath these trellises, we have iceberg lettuce, and we put it under the trellis so that when the cucumbers grow up, they will help shade the lettuce so that it stays fresher longer and it doesn't bolt. The cucumbers over there in the red, with the red trellising, those are transplant. And then the ones in these mini greenhouses are seed, so they haven't germinated yet, but the greenhouses help with that. In this row we have sunflowers coming up, and the first one is Ring of Fire, and then down at the second half, that is Velvet Queen. So they're the red sunflowers. Be lovely. And then these are goji bushes, and we've had an interesting journey with goji bushes. They've not done overly well for us. We feel a little confused about them. Always seem to struggle every year, and they've been in these mounds for probably like 5 years, and we've gotten like a few berries off them, and they're always sending out suckers, and they're just confusing. So if any of you out there have any tips or tricks regarding goji bushes, we'd really appreciate you letting us know anything that you want to share. That'd be great. Behind me here, we have our asparagus beds, and they're coming 4 or 5 years old now, I think. And then we just put in these Norkant apples. There's 3 of them along here. And they're a little peaked because the shipping company kept them for about 12 days extra. So they're in the black box and, you know, not very happy. So that's why they're peaked, but hopefully they come along. And then behind me on the trellising, we have all of our pea lines. They're coming beautifully. We did green arrow peas, potting peas. And in this area, we have tango celery. So we got like 120 stalks here. Hopefully it's not too close. And then we have ever-bearing strawberries below here. This is a haskap, and another haskap, and then a cherry. And Then we have currants and haskaps behind me. This bush here is black currants, and if you look closely you'll see the difference between those and the white currants. We have white right here, and the way that they bloom is distinctly different. They have different flowers. It's quite pretty. Now here we have a fresh row of strawberries that we started planting last fall and then finished this spring. So they'll produce probably next year. That's when we'll harvest from them. And then we have green provider bush beans, 2 rows of them, all the way to the end. Sugar lace peas. So these are really quite pretty peas because they grow these lace trusses that you can pull off, and you can either snack on them or throw them into a salad or stir fry. And then after they've produced an abundance of trusses, then they go into blooming, and then they produce a really nice, basically sugar snap pea. Here we have green sprouting broccoli in both of these beds, and then in this one we have early snowball cauliflower, and we also have a little bit of that just at the end of this row. And then to the right, sorry, your right, to my left we have kohlrabi. That goes down 2 beds, and then we have Brussels sprouts on the right side. Yeah. Something that's interesting that we observed this spring, and we kind of have it every spring, but especially this one, is the ducks. We had 4 or 5 of our farm ducks. They'd come and they'd go through all of the garden beds, and they essentially combed through every inch of the beds. And last year we had a lot of struggle with cutworms. They overwintered in the compost and everything. Last year we saw the cutworms eating off little transplants like the day after they were transplanted out. So, I mean, these were just transplanted yesterday, but there was ones that I put out, last week, and so far I've not seen any sign of cutworms. So that's kind of neat, and I think it's the ducks. And actually, the other thing is we invested in a tilther. We got a really nice tilther from Neversink Farm down in, I believe it's New York State. And so we've been using that to just tilt the top couple inches or so of our bed. And I think that's also disturbed any, pest habitat that they've maybe had. And here we have purple yarrow from some seed heads that I found on a tree job a couple years ago. And then this is our sage, and it's come back. This is the 2nd year that it's overwintered, so that's pretty cool. That's really nice. Irises and lilies and an Evans cherry, tulips, peony, and then we have the columbine bush there, and then behind there we'll have gladiolas coming up hopefully. Then we have our gooseberry bush, Charles's favorite berry bush. He loves it. He claimed it as his own like years and years ago. And we got our rose bushes here, and a few plants of Magnus echinacea. That'll hopefully bloom next year. And then over here we have more Dutch irises coming up. We've got our beautiful chives, which we need to use. Look at that, my goodness. More irises, and then here we have some abundance kale that we left the roots in the fall, and they ended up coming back, so that's wonderful because we'll save seed from this. And then it's been acclimatized. The seed has been acclimatized, and every year it'll hopefully keep getting better. Here we have Styrian pumpkins, and that's something that some friends down in Oregon kind of got us introduced to. Styrian pumpkins are the ones that produce the green seeds that are very high in zinc, and we really like putting them into kefir or into little protein bites or anything that you want a bit of crunch, like a salad. Jerusalem artichokes, and they'll grow up and they'll be a really nice windbreak. And here we have all Brussels sprouts. Next we have Varna leeks, all the way to that little stake. And then we have Kelsey onion up to that little stake, so just a little patch. And then in the next section we have Alicia Craig onions, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. True gold corn. And we have it separated over here from the corn over there. And we got as much distance as possible so that we can hopefully save seed from this stuff. We have some volunteer garlic and onion coming up, but that's okay. Then at the end, behind me, where those triangle trellises are. That is small sugar pie pumpkins. Here we have some little apple trees coming from seed that I saved last year in hopes of basically land breeding some really hardy rootstocks so that we can do some future grafting or maybe let these grow up into actual trees. A wild American plum. They're just wee little guys yet. And then here we have a Juanita plum, and it's a hybrid semi-dwarf plum that we just put in this spring. And we got one here, and then another one, and one more, so 3. And then over there, close to the fence line, we have 2 Trader mulberry trees that will be growing up.
Here we have our family guard dog doing her job.
Right through here we have Amish paste, and then down here we have Anaheim pepper. Now here we have our little seed triangle. This is from root vegetables that we've overwintered in hopes of saving seed from them. So here we have carrots, and then here we have some winter beets that are kind of just starting to come up, a little slow. And then on the back side we have parsnips. Here we have purple top turnips. And then that section there with the funny cabbage heads I think is pretty well a fail. We don't have a very good system of overwintering cabbage heads in a humid environment yet. Our root cellar tends to be a bit dry, so I've tried 2 years in a row now and it just hasn't really worked. So I don't know, we have to figure something out. Let us know if you have any tips, that would be helpful. Manitoba tomatoes, bush tomatoes. And
All of this?
yeah, these are all Manitoba. A few are looking a little sad. Hoping to save seed from them as well. That's why we got most of our tomatoes spaced out as far apart as possible from each other, the different varieties. We have 4 varieties this year. So we got them spaced out so that they won't cross-pollinate and we'll be able to hopefully save good seed. Large leaf Italian basil. And then we got some borage, which we will probably be moving. And then we got English thyme all through here. And these are actually plants that overwintered, which was really nice to see as well. That's pretty cool, because then you don't need to restart them every spring. Rosemary, summer savory right in here. And then we got Italian oregano there. And hopefully some parsley will come up here.
Here we have more chives and some hyssop. And these are walking onions. And then our St. John's wort. And our catnip, although it looks like it hasn't quite come up yet. And then all throughout in here we have beautiful lilies. And here we have grape hyacinths. And Linnae is doing a quick little weed of the walking onions and the chives over there. Here we have Blacktail Mountain watermelon. And we have them planted in front of the house, same with lots of our tomatoes, because it's quite a microclimate right here in front of the house. The white siding really reflects the heat, and it's just incredible for heat-loving plants.
Yep.
My shadow is getting annoying. All right, go ahead.
Here we have Moneymaker tomato, all in all of these raised beds. Here, as well as on this side, Moneymaker. And then we also will be having Scarlet Emperor runner beans coming up and trellising over. They have beautiful red flowers. And we'll have hopefully some morning glories, heavenly blue morning glories, growing up over the trellis. Down here we have spearmint, saponaria soapwort, and then peppermint, and a plantain, buttercrunch lettuce, luculus Swiss chard here, and then here we have King of the North pepper, along with the Moneymaker and Scarlet Emperor runner beans that'll trellis up, and then over there we have our one and only tomatillo that germinated. The only one. I think I started like 12, and that's the only one that came. And more garlic. Garlic's everywhere. Our final plants over in this part of the garden is our spring potatoes. And Mom, she kind of takes care of this bed. She filled it with peat moss as well as some compost, and the potatoes overwinter successfully 2 years in a row now. And we get like -40 winters, so that's pretty impressive.
But the reason why they overwinter is because we have our wood heater over there, and the piping runs along right underneath the bed.
That is true, isn't
So
it?
it stays warm.
Now here we have Hungarian yellow peppers along the back side of the bed. And then in the front here we have fast break cantaloupe. We haven't grown cantaloupe successfully yet, but we're hoping that we get some cantaloupe and watermelon this year. So we'll see. She's listening, eh?
She knows she's supposed to stay over there.
That's really good.
She's the last puppy we have. All the others went to their new homes over the last few days.
Paprika bulldog pepper. Got 4 of them. And then early cascade cherry tomato.
And in here we have more cantaloupe. Wish us luck with that. And enter our greenhouse.
Work in progress.
Yes, so for those of you on our main YouTube channel, Linnae and I have done some updates of our greenhouse over on our Patreon page, 4 Seasons North Biegel Family. Go check that out. We would really appreciate your support. And if you like to see behind the scenes and extra snippets of just our life and projects around the farm, you might really enjoy supporting us over there on Patreon.
Tiny Tim tomatoes on the back side, carrots on the front that we planted in March and they germinated in about April. Chard, kale, spinach, radishes that we're going to let go to seed, and then lemon balm that made it through the winter. Oh, I wish you could smell it.
Smells
so good.
amazing.
And then behind you, we have Amish paste tomato.
All along here,
Over here,
cayenne peppers here, and then over there couple.
and then, boy, it looks like something was in here.
Uh-oh.
I hope that's not a poo.
English telegraph. And along here we have more English long cucumber.
We had been using the stove to heat the greenhouse through April and a little bit into May, just to help extend the season a bit more. Still need to figure it out a bit more, but it did work quite well at night.
That's the effect that the stove had on the kale. And the last thing we will show you are these things.
Our weed.
These are weeds that we plant. We plant weeds. I guess in Canada it's legal for people to have 3 cannabis plants per person. And these are some of our cannabis plants that we use for herbal purposes like salves. No, we do not smoke. And no, we do not encourage people getting high on these plants. They have incredible medicinal benefits, and that is purely what we are going for.
Now that concludes our spring of 2022 garden tour for you. Hope you enjoyed, and if you're interested in supporting us on Patreon, please check out our page, see if it is of interest to you, and hope you guys all have a wonderful spring season and that your planting goes well and that you receive a wonderful harvest come fall time. And we'll hope to have you along on our journey come summer and come fall and possibly even winter. So, bye-bye.